staff genealogist here at National, and today we will be going over the process that the genealogists go through to review an application. This particular application has been reviewed already and has been approved, and the information that we will be reviewing has been anonymized for privacy purposes. And one of the first things that we look for when we're beginning the review of an application is on the applicant's birth certificate. We look for the name, date of birth, and that they're male, and the parentage. And you'll notice some oddities on this one here. In just a second I'll point out what we have, but we'll start with what we know right now. John Henry Doe, born on October 10th, 1988. In Benton, Franklin County, Illinois. His mother is Jane Sue Doe. She's 18, that'll come in handy later, and she was born in Illinois as well. And you'll notice there's no father listed, and that will be, there's a reason for that. And there's an affidavit that Mr. Doe has provided us that explains that there's some family issues related to his father's line. His lineage to the Patriot goes through his mother's line, and so we don't need the father in this case, and so we're going to honor his request and keep that private and move on. Okay, and so we have Jane Sue Doe. She was born on the 22nd of January 1971. And she was born in DuQuoin, I think is the way that's pronounced, Illinois. Okay, her parents are Mr. and Mrs. Henry William Doe on this page. That doesn't really help us a lot. It does give us the father's name, doesn't really give us the mother's name yet. But we can move on to the back page of this birth certificate. This one is one that's provided by the hospital, and so it ends up with the baby footprints. But the back side of these typically has more family information, and so you can see here we now have the Henry William Doe again, and now we have some more information on him. His date of birth, we can go with that for now. 15 May 1927, DuQuoin, Illinois. And we notice that she may have been married, the mother may have been married, but we have her name for now as Alice Jean Smith is the maiden name, so that much we can mark off, and then we can move on to the date of birth, August 1930. And she was born in St. Louis, Missouri. And that's about all we have on this one, so we can move on to the next. And this one is the death certificate for Jane's father, William, or Henry William rather. He died on June the 1st. And you can see there is a minor error here, and so we'll need to bracket that. And we can get the 1st and 2011, and then we need to put June. Okay, and let's see, he died in Maryville, Madison County, and Illinois. And what else can we find here? The informant was Jane, his daughter, And that relationship is further confirmed there. And we now have enough evidence that we can confirm that relationship there. And what else can we say? We have a discrepancy on his birthplace, but he self-reported that he was born there. We'll stick with that for now, because Jane may not have known where he was born. And I think that's about all we can get. Nope, we can get his parents, James Henry Doe, but it appears to be going through his wife's line, so I think that is all we're going to be able to use from his death certificate. He was 84 years old, and we can confirm his date of birth, 15 May 1927, so that much matches. And so we can move on. We can always come back if we need to. Now we have a birth certificate for Alice. Alice Jean Smith, confirmed 19 August 1930 in St. Louis. It's an independent city apparently. And her parentage we're going to need. And so mother is Jane Glass. She's 40 and born in Illinois, so Illinois. The father is Porter Smith, so we get Porter Smith, and 33, also born in Illinois. We do like to have confirming information. Birth certificates are nice, and if we don't end up with any other information, we can make that generational connection, but we do like to have a second thing if we can get it. So before we mark it, we'll continue on and see if we get some more evidence. Okay, we have more information on Alice. We're going back to generation 3. Alice Jean Doe, so that is her married name. She died on December 1st, 1998. And that was in Buckner, Franklin County, Illinois. And Henry Doe is the surviving spouse. They were married. Her birthplace is confirmed as St. Louis, Missouri. Her birth date is confirmed August 19th, 1930. And see if we can find her parents again. Here we go. Porter Smith and Jane Glass. Those have been confirmed again, but it looks like we have an obituary that may give us one final piece of information. So we'll wait just one more time. So Alice Jean Doe's obituary, if we read through it, we've got her age, the obit matches her death certificate. Again, we have another confirmation on her birth date. We've got Porter and Jane and Glass and Smith again. She was married, according to the obituary. She married first a Borland, so we can confirm the Borland and the Mrs. now. And then her second marriage was to Henry William Doe, and that happened on June 27th, 1964. And so we can put obit, 27 June 1964. But we may end up with the marriage record, and we may end up taking the obit mark off. Survivors. Let's see if we, yeah, we have further confirmation. Apparently Jane did get remarried or married at some point in time, and so Jane is right here, and that we have confirmation again for that generational connection, and we have the third confirmation on this generational connection. So we can mark that. And I think that's all we can glean from that. So we'll move on to this marriage record. And this is for Henry Doe and Jane Ellen. So no, we didn't get a location for the marriage on. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope. I don't see a marriage record for that generation. So we will bracket the location. We have the obit gives us the information on the marriage, and we don't have the marriage certificate for Henry to Alice. Oops. And so, no, we will say not provided. And so, well, but this appears to be this might be another marriage for Henry. Well, we'll set it aside for now, and we'll set it up here and maybe come back to it if we need it. But so far, we don't need any of that information, so it's okay. We do have the date of the marriage. And so we have the 1930 census. In this, we have a Porter C, so we have a C here, and a Jane E here, and we have Alice J, and so that's that, and we have yet another confirmation on that generational connection. And Porter is born in Illinois, and Jane is born in Illinois, and Alice is born in Missouri. And so all of that matches up, so it looks like we do have the right family unit. And so that's great. We can now move on to the next record. The next record is a World War I draft registration card for a Porter Clem Smith. Well, the age looks right, so I think we can safely say that Porter is a Clem, and we now have his birthday of the 1st of June, 1898, and address doesn't really give us a birth location yet, so that's all we can really get from this. We'll move to the next. So the Social Security applications and claims. Now we get further information on his birth, and that's Perry County, so we can mark that. And that confirms that we have that, although the year is off. So what we can do, since we have that minor discrepancy, because that could be a typo, what we'll do is put both of them. and you start getting into the 1800s, and it's very common for the ages to be off by as much as about 5 years, so that doesn't concern us. His death date, 8 September 1952, and it doesn't really tell us where he died, so hopefully we get that information elsewhere. And here we have a death index for Porter Clem Smith, and it's September the 8th, 1952 in Madison County, and this is an Illinois statewide index, so that's where he died. And that's all we can get from that. We move to the next record, and it appears to be a birth record. Yeah, Jane Ellen Glass, so we now have her middle name confirmed. And she's female, the third child in the family, born 27 December 1886 in Pope County, and the father was born in Paducah, Kentucky. Doesn't name him, but we have where he was born. And the mother was born in Pope County, and it's Illinois. And the mother is 28. That helps us confirm that we're talking about the right person. Marietta Glass. So the Glass matches, and Marietta we have now, and the father's name, William Cornelius Glass, William Cornelius, and the mother's maiden name is Maudlin, so we have that now. And that is probably all we're going to get. Both of the parents are 28. So we'll probably end up doing some math in a minute, but we shall see. Let's see what else we can find. More information on Jane. Her Social Security applications and claims. Her birthplace, we now have Eddyville, so we can say Eddyville, and the PO from the Pope County in Illinois. Father William C. Glass, so that gives us a second confirmation. Marietta Maudlin. So I think that's about all we're going to get from this. It's got her maiden name and her married name, so I feel confident that that is correct. And we can move on. An obituary, also for Jane. She died today, and that's Monday, November 15th. And this is from the obituary, so obit 15 November 71. And let's see, in the hospital in Murfreesboro. And we typically will allow the state that the paper is in, as long as we have some sort of knowledge, even though the obit doesn't overtly state the state, we can make the assumption that they're talking about that, because I know there is a Murfreesboro, Illinois, and so I feel confident that that's what that is. And sometimes if we're not as confident, we may put in a probably if we're a little bit unsure about a fact, but I'm fairly confident on this, so I don't think I need to put the probably in this time. What else can we get? She was born 27 December 1886. That is a match from what we had before. William C. Glass for parents, married to a John Jackson, and he died apparently, and then she married Porter, and he died in 52, which is correct. That matches that detail nicely. And daughter Alice Doe, so that further matches that. We have a lot of confirmation on those generations there. Okay, so we can move on to the next record. We have another census. This one is the 1940, and this is interesting. We have William C. Glass, which is generation 5 here, but Porter C. Smith and Jane E. and Alice, so all 3 generations are living in the same household. Porter C. is the son-in-law, Jane Ellen is the daughter, Alice is the granddaughter, and those relationships are enumerated nicely, and so we have yet another confirmation on all of those. Looks like they're going to provide us with more information on William, so we don't need to break out the calculator yet to do some math, so let's move on. Okay, and when we have initials like this, that can sometimes be a problem, so let's see what else we've got for these records. You know, we know that this William is 80 years old in 1940, and so that's about 1860-ish, and William C. W.C. That. See what else we can figure out. Try and get past this initial problem. What other kinds of information do we have? Well, we may end up taking it. It's not ideal, but if we feel reasonably confident that it's the right person, we can move on. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. Okay. Oh, here's William Glass, and we have 1858, and it's got Marietta here, and okay, so yeah, I think we can now, with this 1900 census, I think we can take this information for his date of birth and date of death. The 1900 census gives us the 1858, and everything else appears to be matching up nicely. And so, yeah, we've got Marietta Modglin is the spouse, and we've got September 9th, 1858, which also matches this record, and so I feel confident that this is the same person. So 9 September, born in Kentucky, and William A. Glass is the father. N.C. Paisley is the mother. So now we can go to the death certificate and December 5th. Excuse me, the 25th, and let's see if we can, yep. Unfortunately, the reason I was pausing, the death year is actually cut off from this record. However, if we look down here in the burial information, the cemetery information and the date of burial is 1945, and it's 2 days after what would assume to be 45, and so we can safely assume that it's 1945 because a funeral home is not going to keep a body for an extended period of time, so we can assume that it is 1945. And now we can figure out it's Marion Williamson, and it's Illinois. So Marion Williamson, Illinois. All right. So let's see what else we can figure out here. I need the magnifier now. That is getting pretty difficult to see. Let's see what other. Well, we may not have good solid information for Marietta's birth, it looks like. Nope. I don't really see anything. The applicant provided one census record here, but this is the census record before she's married, and though we do know what her maiden name is, we don't know when they got married or where, and so we don't know for sure that this is the right person, and so we can't assume that that's her. And so we do know that she was born in Pope County, Illinois, but we don't know. We might be able to go back to her birth record, though, actually. Let me see if I can find a birth record for Jane. I don't remember what we had for her. Pardon me, one moment. Here we go. So Marietta was 28 when she was born, and so Marietta was born in 1886. 1886 minus 28, 8. So that would be 1858. We can say about 1858 in Pope County, Illinois. Okay, so we can't take that, and so the 1870 census is here. We can't really use that because we can't assume that that's her. Okay, we do have a marriage record, but oh, this is a marriage record for a second marriage, looks like, for William. Oh, I see what the applicant was doing here. He was he's using this to try and establish a death date for Marietta. Unfortunately, there's more than one reason why there would be a remarriage, and it's possible Marietta ran off, it's possible that William ran off, it's possible they got divorced. So unfortunately, we can't assume that she died just because William is getting remarried, and so we can't accept that. And so, given that, we're not going to use that. Okay. Now, let's see here. Oh, it looks like we have William and Marietta's marriage record. Okay, yeah, it's here, but they didn't put the marriage date. So, what is this? Let's see, 1882. Okay, 28. Okay. Anna? Well, I can't make out the county. I'm not sure about that city either, but we've got, unfortunately this is not a great copy. It's not terrible. I have seen worse, but we have 28 December 1882, and Union County. Yeah, that looks like Union County. So, Union County, Illinois. They got married. Okay, great. And this application uses a DAR record copy, and so we have that generation, and hopefully that's where this record copy picks up. I would like to have a little bit more information on William Alexander, but I think we'll be okay. So we've got 3 April 1818, Williamson County, Illinois, and a center check. So, now death, 10 June 1865, Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, and you'll notice that once we move to this record copy, I'm not automatically checking off everything. I'm only checking off the information that DAR actually checked off, and I went one too many, so pardon me while I take one of those marks off. They only marked off 3 April, and so that the rest of it is just covered by the center check. And then this whole next line is just the center check line. Next we have Nancy Catherine Paisley, and 26 November 1821 in Tennessee, and a center check. And 6 February 1875, buried in Pope County, Illinois, and a center check. And they got married 13 February 1842 in Pope County, Illinois, and a center check. And we don't have any further information, so we're using the DAR record copy for our connections. So DAR number 908449, and next generation, we have about 1790 North Carolina, and 13 January 1873 Pope County, Illinois, and about 1790 for Margaret, and don't know where. Okay, and then 14 April 1842 in Pope County, Illinois is where she died. And then 18 July 1814, Livingston County, Kentucky. And the Patriot, we mark that a little different because this cover sheet is on the Patriot. It is constantly updated by DAR, and so we can actually take some confirmations from this. 12 August 1761, Ireland. 10 June 1837 in Pope County, Illinois. Then we come back here and put the same marks that we normally would from any other generation. The center check for here, and the center check for here, as long as nothing else is changed. And Hannah Barnhill, don't know when or where she was born. She died 4 September 1841 in Pope County, Illinois, and we don't know when or where they got married. So now, a few more marks here to mark that the DAR is where we got this information. And then we move to the top. Now that we've proven the lineage, we have to look at the service. So we have James Glass. He was a private in both South Carolina and Pennsylvania. He served under Captain Wilson and Captain John Henderson. And the proof of service is the DAR record copy 908449 on James Glass. It is possible to get service cited through a different one, and so it's important to put who it's on, because DAR has supplementals just like the SAR does. And so you got to know exactly who it is, not just the national number. You need the actual patriot. So you put the DAR number on whoever the patriot is, and it is citing the pension S32272. So now we have private, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, and he's a pensioner. And we now have an approved application, and we didn't need to go back and figure out what was going on with that census record. So if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you very much.